We're here today because protecting San Onofre State Beach from the proposed Foothill South toll road is a national priority for the Sierra Club. And that's because of the threat not just to San Onofre, but because of the dangerous precedent that would be set if we start allowing destructive development proposals like the toll road to come through our parks. Our parks are granted, or were granted, the highest level of protection by our leaders, and to then go back on that protection for destructive development proposals that don't belong in our state parks that were set aside for future generations to enjoy, the natural resources, a clean, pristine beach, a wonderful hiking trail down, without having giant roadways overhead. I mean, that's why our parks are there. They're not set aside as warehouses for future development projects. Pressure to develop in parks is only going to get greater as we become more and more populated as a state and become more and more built out. So now is the time that we really need to take a look at our value system and decide where we draw the line in the sand and what areas we're going to keep protected forever. The Sierra Club's position is that you don't build new roads in open spaces. I mean, and that's not going to solve the traffic problem. And that's kind of a proven thing in transportation studies, is that building new roads through open areas doesn't solve traffic. In fact, it increases traffic because now new people are driving on roads that wouldn't otherwise have been driving at all. What we would like to see is improvements on existing infrastructure, like improvements on I-5, improvements on arterials, and frankly, improvements in mass transit. I mean, it's a direction that we're all going to have to move one day, and we should really start moving in that direction now. We're in the San Mateo campground, which is the most popular overnight campground within San Onofre State Beach. San Mateo is booked 6 months in advance. If you wanted a campsite here this summer, you would have had to already book it. If you can't afford to spend $300 or $400 or $500 at the Ritz-Carlton or the Montage on the coast, campgrounds is what you look to have an affordable vacation with your family, and it's where you make your memories. And that's why we need to make sure that the ones that we have are preserved, because we don't have much space to build new ones. And one of the things that makes trestles is the fact that the San Mateo Creek, which flows through San Mateo Campground through San Onofre State Beach, is the last pristine, unchannelized, undeveloped watershed in all of Southern California. It's actually used as the benchmark for water studies to tell what the water is supposed to be like because it's maintained that clear and that pristine. Unfortunately, the toll road would bisect that watershed. So that now means giant pylons will be in the creek bed, the runoff from the road will be emptying into the creek bed, and all that will have a disastrous effect on trestles in terms of the water quality, in terms of possibly the flow of the creek and the cobbles and the sedimentation that creates the wave bridge to even be affected by the toll. It's so important that we maintain that pristineness. It'll completely change the experience if you suddenly have a giant structure toll road flying over your head.